Hello. A complex piece of software like Maya is good when all the components more or less work together well. So in this example, I show you the working together of actually three components. One is called construction history. The second thing is we use expressions. And we use mesh. And as a final thing, an additional nice touch, I will Bifrost something. So have fun. So let's create a cylinder and go to polycylinder in order to get a better resolution for the side and maybe for here as well. Press key F, you see lots of detail here. Actually we could use more of them and more of these. Okay, so this is a cylinder with lots of patches here. Now I have here something called ProSets. If you don't have it, just skip this or do the following. Select a face and extrude it with this parameter here. You can make an extrusion like this, and here you have the poly extrude face, and now you can animate the parameters here. For example, this one. But I have the ProSets plugin installed, and by the way, I did pay for it, so it's just a regular plugin. Currently costs, I think, £40, and it's doing something really magic, because when I delete this face now, or any face, it will do the same thing with all the other faces. If I extrude the face, it would extrude all the other faces as well. So, but deletion is just a simple thing, just very basic. So with this selected, I press the Alt key and go to P, ProSet, and I have the choice to select the history node here, which is called delete component. That's exactly what I did. I deleted this component. So now the deletion is gone, but the magic here is that I can just raise the percentage here, and it will actually delete and recover the whole cylinder. So I will animate this in a second, but it's basically the same as if you would extrude several faces and set keyframes, etc. Now I want to go to the next thing, which is creating a mesh network. Mesh is right here. You find it under the FX menu set, or you find it right here. And you just click here, and you get 10 copies. Actually, not copies, but instances. We can add some color. Add a color node. It turns out white. Let's go to a green color like this, and now I can use a random hue like this, and maybe a random saturation like this. So it's a quite a nice coloring here. Now under distribute, I changed the distribution here. This is not crucial for this tutorial really, but it's preferable to have the arrangement in a grid here. I currently have 3 by 3. Let's make it 7 by 7, which gives us this blobby thing. Actually, we can just distance them more like this, so they're all in a nice setting now. Now come the expressions. I go back to the main mesh node and I create a random node. They're currently nicely arranged in this grid pattern, which will change now, but only for a second. We have a wild distribution here, And here in the random node we just reduce the position x, y, z to 0, so we have the same thing as before, but we will use the rotation in x, y and z. So y is not really interesting currently because it rotates them in the y-axis, which we don't see because it's a rotational symmetrical object, the cylinder that is. Okay, what we'll do, we'll animate the rotation x and z with a sine and a cosine function. So rotation goes in degrees, so let's do the following. Equals, we type in equal, and then 20 to have 20 plus and minus 20 degrees, which is visible. If you don't type in 20, you will barely see the effect. Times, so that's the times sign now, and now sine, S-I-N, bracket, frame. So the rotation x will be animated with a sine function pulsating from 1 to -1 and back again, etc. Frame-wise, that means very fast, and with an acceleration or with an amplitude of 20, meaning 20 degrees plus minus is the maximum. So it will animate in between. So when we run the animation, this is the shaking process you now have. That's the sine function times 20. Let's go to the translation z and type in equal, and now we make it maybe 30 times cosine, could be sine as well, cosine frame. And instead of just use the frame number, we can multiply this by 2. Frame times 2 and close the bracket, press enter. So that's the animation we now have. Well, now we can use the rotation as well. Equals 3 times sine and frame, bracket and close. So this is the animation. We have quite some working here. Now, construction history. We go back into the history, which currently sits here in the ProSets thing. We go to the beginning of the animation and set a keyframe for the percentage. And we go to the end of the animation, which in my case is, well, let's go to 200. Set another keyframe here and set the same keyframe in the middle. So nothing currently changes because the percentage is always 0. Now we go to frame 50 or 51, whatever, and we raise this to 100. And we set a keyframe here. And we want to do the same thing around the time 150 frames. Instead of moving the cursor here, we can just middle mouse drag it here. So we transport the value from here to there, and we just set another key. So that's what we have. So the animation goes like this. We have this shaking process, and actually the cylinders start disintegrating from the bottom upward. In the ProSets, there's a very nice thing called the Modulus. And let's go to, say, frame 72. Right in the middle here, we have these little pills now. What we'll do now is we right mouse click, set key. That means we don't use the modulus up till frame 72. Now we step 1 frame further to 73, and now we check it on. And we set a key. So what the modulus in this case does is it makes this quite wonderful deletion of faces in the modulus way. It's I think it's quite fantastic. And of course we can deactivate the modulus again here. Let's set a key here, go 1 frame further, deactivate it, and set a key. By the way, if you use the modulus here with other parameters here, it's currently set to 2, you get other visualizations, which we can of course use as well. So we set the key here for 2, and we set the key to 7 for here. So it steps from 2 to 7 now, the modulus factor. So that's quite an interesting animation now. When we render it, of course, Arnold won't render the colors. We have to use another technique to render the colors, actually, which is not that complicated anymore as it used to be. But just briefly, a skydome light and a surface, which we can make rather big and move down. And then we can render it. So that's the situation before they start to disintegrate. And let's step here, for example, get a little bit closer here, and use Arnold again for rendering. I mean, the light is a little bit diffuse now. We can, of course, pump it up, but basically you get the idea. Of course, this whole thing has to do with a lot of motion. So between the frames 80 and 85, we have a lot of motion happening. And here as well, say frame 99, we can go to the render settings, which are here. Go to the Arnold render tab here. Go to motion blur and enable it. Leave the defaults as they are. When we render it now, actually let's raise the intensity of the light a little bit. And now let's render it. Now we get it with a motion blur, which is quite nice. It shows us how drastically this cylinder, for example, rotates as opposed to that one in the back here. So I finally show you a rendering with a fluid, which is a Bifrost fluid, and it will show you that the Bifrost fluid actually respects the mesh network and distributes between the cylinders. That means even this complicated module of a dynamic simulation of a fluid works together with all the rest. So here you see a rendering of the Bifrost enhanced scene. The cylinders we've had before, which are moving around, tilting all the time, and stirring up the fluid here. And I just rendered one in, I think, 27 frames, where the liquid already settles a little bit. And here you see that it does respect the geometry of the underlying mesh, M-A-S-H, that is. And you see that it kind of spreads in between the objects and doesn't penetrate them, so it actually respects them, and that's basically what I wanted to show you. By the way, this is just a straightforward rendering of the mesh system with just a plane here which has the same shader as the liquid, and it's an opaque kind of shading which I built from scratch, very simple really, highly reflective or semi-reflective. So this is the same shader, that's why it's the same blue. And an interesting aspect to the whole thing is we have a global light which emits gray into the scene. That's why we have this soft kind of lighting here. If you apply an HDR image, which means a high definition image, a high resolution image, which wraps around the whole scene, and you use it as a file texture for the skydome, then you can get a very different result, which I show you now. It's the same rendering, the same camera, the same frame of the animation, but we now have one light source, still one light source, but with an HDR image mapped to it. So that's quite a difference. You see here the landscape is reflecting, and it shows some more into detail how the liquid distributes here. The mesh system works together with Bifrost, and we've seen construction history as well as using expressions. Bye.